Craig, every day you came home from court, you must have felt exhausted. I mean, you've done some stuff in the past, with acting, where you would have come home tired, but this would have been draining. It would have felt like you're in the fight of your life.
Spot on, Caney. It was exhausting. It's a whole different kind of exhausting. Do you know, I said to Vanessa, it's like if you can imagine 100 rounds of boxing with a heavyweight landing blow after blow. You never hear the bell, though. You're kind of doing the math in your head. The rounds just don't seem to end. It was a whole different kind of exhaustion, yeah.
Did you feel at any time that you weren't going to win this? It's almost, like you say, blow after blow. But despite the allegations being bogus, did you feel that you didn't have a chance? Yes.
I hate to say yes, because you go in knowing what the culture was like, how we all behaved together. But you discover pretty early on that it's a complex world, and it's referred to as the system.
Yeah.
Once you're in the system, suddenly you become aware of all these other factors that can play into it, and you sit there going, I know I'm a good guy.
Yeah.
I thought these were my friends. My story hasn't changed. Other stories seem to be. Am I going to go down anyway? Do you know what I mean? Like that fear is very real.
Like the fix is in.
Like the fix is in.
You were acquitted, but do you find it hard to believe we're still talking about this right now?
What year is this now? It's 2026, right? I honestly thought, like I think most Australians, if you are unfortunately faced with this sort of situation and you go through the process, as I did, you put your trust in the law, suddenly you're in the system, but you believe that ultimately, truth will out, and if you are acquitted of whatever you've been charged with, we can all breathe. We can all say what an experience this has been, hopefully learn lessons from it and move on. But the moving on part for me post-acquittal hasn't been easy.
You feel like you walked into that courtroom as Craig McLachlan, but you're being trialled as Frankenfurter.
No.
You may as well put the costume on.
Exactly. As the magistrate referred to me, the accused man, she may as well have said, Mr. Furter. Underneath my suit, I'm sure she saw a corset, high heels, fishnets. I mean, I'm Craig McLachlan. I'm the same guy who you perhaps watched in Dr. Blake Mysteries or whatever. Frankenfurter's a character. Please look at me and treat me as a human being, not an alien transsexual transvestite, from a kooky galaxy. And that's how it felt.
And also too, walking into court, just staying on that bit, the pressure walking in, a throng of media around you, while the accusers have this veil of being anonymous. How were you feeling? How much pressure?
Well, it didn't make for a calm start to the day in court. You've got to have your wits about you. You've got to keep yourself composed. And, of course, as soon as you hit the pavement to make your way into the courtroom, it's on for young and old. And, listen, I've been around long enough. I understand they're trying to get a reaction. But it was very difficult. And, of course, for me, I have to say, and I don't say this with any malice, but for me, the hypocrisy, and I understand that in certain cases, people should be granted anonymity. Some nasty stuff happens in the world. But people who happily appeared on television, in some cases multiple times, magazines, newspapers, online, whatever, the gathered media, I'm sure, knew who the individuals were who were going to appear in court, but of course they couldn't be named or mentioned or whatever. So I saw a bizarre hypocrisy just because of how my case unfolded, in terms of it being splashed all over the press, on television, repeated on morning breakfast television with all the other broadcasters every 18 minutes or something. Disgraced actor, da-da-da-da-da. And then there's this anonymity issue with the court case. Again, I respect the reasons for that being in place with certain cases.
Yep.
But when something has been... I was tried publicly before I ever got in that courtroom. So now I'm fighting, as you say, for my life. And for me, it seemed a little... ridiculous, if not unfair.
You certainly weren't afforded a chocolate Labrador or a squeeze ball, were you?
No.
The first charge that was laid against you of allegations from the first understudy, she remained anonymous. Had there ever been a complaint from that person in the past?
No, never, ever. In fact, she was one of the cast again. I mean, I thought I had really great relationships and friendships with all of my cast.
So she gave no indication?
No.
There were texts and emails and correspondence even after the tour had ended, wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, to put it in perspective, we may have mentioned this in previous chats, but you know, that 2014 tour had been so successful. I mean, it was, you know, a terrific run, that the demand was there. Theatres were saying, come back in 2015. And my friend, we're referring to her as the first understudy, she was the first one. I hadn't even inked a contract for myself. She knew I was doing it, of course. She was the first one. I know this from some of the production team. She was the first one to sign up again for the 2015 tour. Yeah. So I'm like, great. You know, I've got one mate coming back, and as it turned out, a bunch of others did too. But yeah, no, it was a terrific friendship. Yeah,
there was even a picture of her, wasn't it? At the opening night of the 2015, she looked happy as Larry.
She was certainly giving the guns a good old squeeze, wasn't she? And, you know, this is a friend who, you know, bought an acoustic guitar on that 2014 tour about halfway through, and popped by my my hotel room. She didn't even know how to tune it or whatever, so she came for a guitar lesson. You know, Craigie, I can swing by your hotel, which was on the way to the theatre. If you could just yeah, I've got to do press in the morning. I'm going to hit the gym, but yeah, definitely come by. She dropped by. I put the kettle on, tuned up the guitar, ding, 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 stretched the strings. And I said, and listen, here's 3 chords. Impress your family and friends with these ones. Showed her a few chords. Now, you would think, wouldn't you?
So her about face was, I suppose, a surprise. That would be an understatement.
Yeah, understatement of the century.
It was evidence in court that she sat on your lap and she played a big part in the culture. You were charged with tickling her ankle.
Yes.
In court, it revealed that this ankle tickle didn't happen with this person. It was actually another cast member, the female that played the role.
Yeah, that's right. This other cast member, who we were great mates, and she didn't get involved in any of this case. But I'm laughing at the memory. But she purchased, or she got her hands on this life-size latex werewolf mask. A really fantastic mask. Now, nightly she would come and hang out in my dressing room before she had her call to hit the stage. This particular night, she's hiding in my dressing room with this werewolf mask. I come in from the mic check and the werewolf leaps out from behind a chair. Scared the pants off me, but was funny as hell.
Yeah.
So we had ongoing gags all the time, and it was revealed in court that I certainly gave her ankle a tickle on the night of the werewolf incident.
But how do you even get charged with that? I mean, I suppose the Rocky Horror Show in 2014, tickling an ankle doesn't really seem out of character backstage.
Oh my God, no. I mean, tickling an ankle. I mean, if we want to start examining the various physical pranks that went on any given night, well, each time I was wedgied or goosed, years down the track, should I be going to the cops over that? Well, the truth of the matter is, I understood that it was all part and parcel of just the fun carry-on. So someone gave me a quick scene to write. They're trying to get me to laugh as I go on stage. So I accepted that was the behaviour of this group of people. So a goose, a wedgie versus a tickle on the ankle, I actually think a tickle on the ankle is probably, the least offensive of those things, but I was charged with it.
Craig, in court, the police relied upon a witness, or C3 as she's called in the podcast, who claimed she saw you, as the press reported, reach up between her legs and bottom, and she complained to a crew member?
Yeah, that's right. She claimed that she saw me reach up between the first understudy's legs in the direction of her bottom. The interesting thing about that is it doesn't even match what the first understudy herself claimed happened.
Yeah. And I suppose in the end, the eyewitness, or C3, had to admit that she hadn't seen any assault at all, and that the crew member had never been complained to.
That's absolutely right. And it's shocking, and again, it's one of the things that, to this day, 2026, you grapple with. It's so difficult to get your head around.
Yeah. The magistrate went on to make rulings that weren't correct, which we hear in the podcast. She spoke of some type of screen that you were hidden by backstage, out of sight of the audience, obviously, but also the cast.
Yeah. Now, I don't know, and I'll never know, I guess, why the magistrate had created this image in her mind, because it is a creation, it is a fiction, it's a fabrication. And it seemed to everyone else in the courtroom, it was pretty clear how that backstage area had been described. So we can conclude what we want about this notion that there was a screen. There wasn't. And I was able to get behind that screen and be shielded from not only the audience, the sound department, the cast doing their quick changes, those cast members about to make their next entrance, the wardrobe and wiggies people just there, crew, mechs and what have you just there. There's a small platoon of people, guys and gals, performers and crew, right there. The notion that I, like a Vegas magician, managed to position a screen so that I could tickle someone's ankle, it is beyond farcical, and frankly, it's a bit sinister. to suggest that.
With so much, crew around in regards to this, has any of the crew come to you and said, why wasn't I questioned? I mean, why didn't they put me in the fucking stand? I would have told it how it was.
That's, thank you for asking that question, Michael, because pretty much all of them, those who were immediately backstage in particular, were busting at the seams. In some cases, they reached out to the police. I was there. Speak to me. Never happened.
We will talk about that a little bit more later, just in regards to the way the police, the DPP, put everything together in regards to not getting all their ducks in a row and probably even going through film, just the whole stage show itself. You'd be analysing it from top to bottom. Doesn't seem like it did, like it happened. Almost seems like it was wasting the court's time, everyone's time.
Again, you're spot on. We may have touched upon this in one of our previous chats, Michael. I can't remember, but yes, you're absolutely right. Parallel universe time just for a second. If these people had been spoken to, if there was some genuine balance, fairness, and it truly was a thorough investigation. I won't mention the detective's name in charge of heading up the investigation, but had it have been not skewed in any particular direction, if all of these people have been spoken to, all those, I may not have had to sit in a courtroom being called the accused man.
Do you feel that there's no doubt that one of the accusers coerced the first understudy in coming forward in the first place?
It pains me to say it, but I know categorically that's the case.
What I find incredible is that these people get to say anything they want. It gets torn down in court, ripped to shreds, yet there's no repercussions with lying on the stand. There's no accountability.
No, and again, that's just another facet of this that is deeply troubling. It's hard to get your head around. And I was going to say most Australians wouldn't be aware of that you can exaggerate. And don't forget, in not being honest and telling a truth in terms of a workplace, like withholding information is also as bad as exaggeration and fabrication. An example is if you've been relentlessly bullied by someone in the workplace, but you know it's not me, but you don't name the woman or the individual who has been bullying you, you're happy to let journalists believe that it's Craig McLachlan. That's as bad as any fabrication or exaggeration.
And I suppose that the police wouldn't want to look into any of this for vexatious claims, because I suppose that would highlight the ineptitude of the investigation in the first place.
Spot on, Michael. Spot on.
No witnesses to say there were any type of tickling. The charge gets thrown out. You're not guilty on the charge. How are you feeling at this point?
Do you know, on the day of the magistrate's verdict, just in relation to that one, you hear that and you go, well, thank God. And it also, again, we spoke earlier about Dr. Frankenfurter being on trial. The magistrate had an idea of what Dr. Frankenfurter's intent must be, experimenting on these humans. Craig's intent was never nasty. I wasn't interested in bullying anyone or harassing anyone. And again, within the circus that is the theatre, these were my friends. And certainly as I'm getting wonderful text messages from them throughout the run and beyond. So it gets back to intent. If you're saying he tickled my ankle and it interfered with my moment. I was annoyed because I'm about to sing part of the song or something. Come to me and go, hey, you tickled me right as I was about to sing my line and I almost forgot my lyric. I'd be like, oh, so sorry, I was just mucking around. There was no sexual intent. There was no intent to make that person feel less than. But that was one charge out of God knows how many. So we ticked that one off. But that was one of so many charges. And I'm sitting there, Michael, and my experience of being in the courtroom with the magistrate, she's had some time now. Remember, COVID's hit. This is all happening remotely. And I just didn't know how she was going to play it. I really didn't.